Shalom. First of all, I'd like to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushua, Bashim, Rakakadash. Babylonian said, teachers, elders, and apostles of great millstone. Likewise, brothers are there put on the truth. 50 fearlessly feeding the sheep and you brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson is titled, At Every Angle. Now, we're talking about Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man, and how he is going to come, okay, at the Asherala, okay, our so-called Black Americans and Latinos, okay, at every angle. Now, today I'm going to focus on two videos that I saw on YouTube, two little short videos here. And the first one you see playing in the background here is a Jake, okay, that's being escorted, okay, from his little encampment under this staircase here. And if you notice that they have like several cops around him with tasers drawn, you know, and they're uprooting up this Jake. Now, when you think about this, the fact is that eviction is something that Jake is experiencing heavily here in Great Babylon, America, because when you had like your housing boom going on about 3 years ago, you had a lot of these investors buying these apartment buildings up, or they're buying up houses, okay, and then they turn around and Jake would have their rent suddenly increase by $300, $400, $500 a month, which we know here in Great Babylon, America, none of us ever get pay raises of $300 or $400 or $500 a month. Okay, so this has increased, okay, the likelihood of Jake being evicted or coming up short on making rental payments. Now, if you're out here sleeping on the side of the road, you know, and this is your home right now, okay, and you know there are others out there, but they particularly pick on Jake, okay, and you can't even sleep on the street of America without being harassed by the so-called white man, okay, and his posse, okay, of centuries, okay, that are not peacekeepers, okay, then imagine how this is really going to evolve, okay. Let me read a scripture for you, and then we're going to go into some articles here because and tie this all in, okay. This is the book of Isaiah 3:12, and it says, "As for my people, children are their oppressor, and women ruled over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy path." Now, these children who are oppressor is Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man, okay, the basis of man, which I'm going to bring up next, okay. So when you have children as your rulers, okay, this is how children tend to solve problems, okay. They tend to solve problems like this. Now, let's go into this first article, okay, before we go into some more scriptures here. This is an article from Rolling Stone here. This is Trump 2024 crime plan crackdowns on the homeless, drug addicted, and mentally ill. Now, when you look at all of that, homeless, who's homeless? Jake. Who's most likely to be drug addicted? Jake. Even though these Edomites are, okay, and who's mentally ill? Jake. You think about it. If you're homeless, you're on some type of narcotics or whatever the case is like that, alcohol or whatever, most likely you're going to have some type of mental issues. In fact, you're going to have mental issues whether you do drugs or not. If you're homeless and you're sleeping outside there with ants crawling up your ass, you know, you're cold, you're shivering, you smell like shit, you haven't bathed in a couple of days, you know, or months or years, okay? And this is something that Jakes right now need to understand. When we go into Jacob's trouble, this is going to be exasperated, and especially for Jakes who have not experienced what homelessness is all about. And this is what Trump says here. He said Donald Trump released his plan to end crime and restore law and order as he continues his quest to retake the White House in 2024. The supposedly new plan is largely a rehash of past policy goals from his 2016 campaign from his administration, which include expanding the use of federal death penalty. So we always talk about the fact that this man wants to bring out the firing squad, you know, hanging, electrocution. You know, remember they used to do public hanging over here not too long ago, okay? Basically lynching, really. That's going to be coming back, okay? And it says sending in the military when local law enforcement refuses to act, meaning what? He is going to have a particular type of military people. Why do you think the border is open right now where they're having these young men, military age, healthy and strong, coming over here? They're not going to get the fat, obese National Guard or reservists to do the job. They're going to have their own special military forces to do this. And it's being set up as we speak right now. And assailing bail reform for status. In the video trumpeting these proposals this week, the former president also teased harsher crackdown should he return to the Oval Office on people without homes and those addicted to drugs. Well, who created the drugs? Okay. The so-called white man. Jake don't have any lab to create the drugs. So now here you go. Again, as this video is playing in the background. Okay. He supposedly is mentally ill. But let's ask, let's see. And I know you brothers and sisters have seen these Edomites out there. Are they not mentally ill out there on the streets? They are. Esau himself, the so-called white man, is mentally ill. The ones sitting in those high places, they're mentally ill. They're demented. Okay? But, see, this is why we blow the trumpet, because we're letting you know the different ways that this man is laying up snares and the way he's going to come after Yasharallah, so-called Blacks and Americans and Latinos. Let's go to the book of Daniel 4:17. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of man, and give it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of man. Who is ruling the earth right now? The so-called white man, who is the basis of man. Out of the 18 nations created, Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man, Caucasian, so-called white people, are the basis of man, so despised by the Lord Yahweh Shemi Ashai that after 1,000 years of brutal, hardcore, back-breaking, okay, slavery, they're going to be wiped out of existence because he hates them. The Lord hates Esau, but this is who he set up over us. And instead, we are at the bottom. But this is what we have to go through in order to get that crown, and this is what we have to go through in order to get into the heavenly kingdom. Because we deeply offended the Lord. Let's go into another article here, okay, to Mr. Trump right here, because Jake needs to understand what's coming. There's not going to be any escape from the purge of this doggone devil, okay? This is from the Washington Post, and it says Trump totes an authoritarian vision for second term. I am your justice, he says. He says, mandatory stop and frisk, deploying the military to fight street crime. Why the hell you need, what happened to the local police? Break up gangs, which when you think of these things, what comes into mind? It's always Jake. You always think about a nigga, some dreadlock, stringy hair, curly hair nigga with tattoos. That's what comes into mind. This is what they've infused in the mind. And they're right, because for most part, most of us have just dealt with just that. Okay? These are the ones that tend to cross your path. These are the ones that everyone considered to be dangerous. And it says, and deport immigrants, meaning deport, okay, the Northern Kingdom tribes, purging the federal workforce and charging leakers. In other words, shut the hell up. So he's going, not only at the same time he's going after Yasharallah, he also wants to try to call his own people. Okay? This is that new world order they're looking to bring in. And it says, former President Donald Trump has steadily began outlining his vision for his second term agenda, focusing on unfinished business from his time in the White House. An expansive video for how he would wield federal power. In outline videos and stump speeches, Trump is pledging to pick up where he left, where his first term left off, and push them even further. So this man is looking to get back into power, okay, and really do what a bully kid would always do. And this is the reason why, you know, when I open up with Isaiah 3:12, it says that we are given over to our oppressors as children, okay, because children tend to be merciless. If I like you, I'll be good to you. If I don't like you, I'll be mean to you. It's like the child with the the magnifying glass and burning up the little ants because he can. And that's what the so-called white man is. I mean, you can look at these people's face, man. These are children. Okay? Let's go into the book of Psalms 10 and verse 8. Start verse 7. It says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privy set against the poor. Now I want you to think about that, because I'm going to read this third one here. And it says Trump planned to bring back mental institution. In other words, we've been telling you about the FEMA camps. We've been telling you about the 10 FEMA zone. We've been telling you about the fact that they have these internment camps, which they call correction camps. And this is going to be no more so, especially when they bring out the mark of the beast, MOTB. Okay? When they decide to go into a credit system type society. Okay? Now, he's saying Trump's plan to bring back mental institutions. In other words, if you're being accused of something that you didn't do, you may flare up. You may get belligerent. You may get, kind of speaking out of turn, because it's like, wait a minute, how the hell you could accuse me of that? So being homeless now suddenly is mentally ill? I mean, so this is where they're going to be able to just grab you off the street and throw you into these infirmary camp because you can't pay your damn bills. Because your king or the kings of Babylon, America, okay, has not done their job to provide for its citizens. And we're not concerned about the rest of these doggone nations here. We're only concerned about our people. Now, we give the warning out to the 2/3, but Lord willing, the 1/3 elect, okay, it's preserved to us, which has been promised to us, okay? Now, let's read this. It says, former President Trump has called for the return of the mental institution as part of his plan to get the homeless off our street. Again, homeless. That's a code word for Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, in particular Negroes and Latinos, who seem to be impacted by this the most. Okay? And it says, should he be elected a second term to office? That's why you see they turn around and they're bringing out those immigrants, so-called immigrants, so bringing Jakes them out into these cities like Chicago, New York, okay, these big cities, and just putting them out there. So Jake them, you have a language barrier, a cultural barrier, all those barriers. They're wandering around these neighborhoods that are, zip codes are pretty expensive or whatever case like that, and these people are annoyed. So not only is now Jake become a menace just at being present in these places, but you have Jakes that are here, okay, who are proud of their accomplishment here in Great Babylon, America, that is going to go along with it, not understanding you're sealing your own fate. You're sealing your own fate. You're no better than the Jake that's on the street. The only difference is that Jake on the street and you have a roof over your head now, and that Jake doesn't. But you're going to go along with this and go, yeah, I think that should be right. Yeah, we should get rid of it. We should do that. Okay? And they said, why it matters. A state-run psychiatric hospitals that largely disappeared in the mid-1900s and are often associated with inhumane mistreatment. Again, that sounds like what? The FEMA camps, torture camps, waterboarding, beating you. This is about physical harm. This is how this man is using those angles. Homelessness, we're going to clear your street so that you don't have, a homeless guy sitting out there pooping on the front of your lawn. Oh, that'd be great. Okay? Oh, this homeless guy that's always begging you on your way to work. We're going to clear that. Before I continue on with that, let me bring out this this last scripture here. This is Ecclesiasticus 12:17, starting verse 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagine how to throw thee in a pit. He will weep at his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Wasn't this the same guy that turned around a couple of years ago and said, hey, black people, what do you have to lose? Trust in me, Trump? So now you're coming back out, speaking in the codes, which we can decipher what you're saying. Okay, that you're coming now to purge us. Not that I ever voted for this guy. I never voted in my damn life. I don't give a flying fuck who's in the damn White House. You could have a dog there as far as I'm concerned. And a dog is actually more superior than these fucking shitbags. Okay? But it says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. Why do you always find a so-called white man when adversity come? Because he's the one that creates the adversity. He is the one that creates adversity. And though he pretend to help thee, yet he shall undermine me. Never trust this motherfucker. Ever. Here's what this man is saying, what he's going to do to so-called blacks and Americans and Latinos. You better friggin' take this shit serious. Okay, this is what the majority of silk lay down in the head with a nice fluffy pillow. I can eat 3 meals a day or 7 meals, 10 meals a day. I have a job. Life is good for me. Blood clot American fucking thinks. Okay? And they're going to help push this agenda, not understanding they too going to fall into the doggone trap. Oh, the devil knows he has but a short time. He's not showing mercy on anybody because he knows what's coming. And what it says, he says, driving the news, when I am back in the White House, we will use every tool, lever, and authority to get the homeless off our street. Trump said in a video posted on his campaign site in August, saying that he will work with states to ban urban camping. This is why that Jacob's trouble is going to be so perilous. Because now you no longer can be just a homeless person walking with a backpack on your bag. Let me sit under a tree. Let me sleep on a gutter. Let me sleep under a building light. No. Now you can be thrown into a van and taken to an internment camp. And it says they had these they call mental institutions or mental camps back in the 1900s. Okay? Which was all about torture. It says it right there. There it is. And to give you an idea, let me close out here, to give you an idea of exactly who's part of your law enforcement, take a look at this video here.
Yeah, Rick, Jennifer, Inspector General Ed Harness says the videos remind us that it's one thing to have a policy, but it's another thing to adhere to that policy and create an environment where officers actually believe they can report misconduct.
Hey, baby, you got change for $1? How about a drink?
The cell phone videos were taken by LMPD officers from the now disbanded 9th Mobile Unit. They capture multiple instances of officers throwing drinks at pedestrians and cyclists and then laughing about it. Some videos were taken by an officer in a car driving behind another LMPD vehicle from which the drinks were thrown. 2 former LMPD officers, Kurt Flynn and Brian Wilson, were sent to federal prison after being convicted in 2022 of conspiracy to violate civil rights. Other officers who knew about the drink throwing were suspended, but are still with the department.
Oh, right here, right here. He just fell down.
Louisville's Inspector General, Ed Harness, says the fact that it went on for so long without being reported is disturbing. He says LMPD needs to foster an environment where officers feel like they can report misconduct without retaliation.
As we close out here, Lord willing, the hopefully elect was edified. I'd like to give all glory and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yashai Bashim Rakakadash. Double honors to teachers, double honors to the teachers, elders, and apostles, great most soul, likewise brothers out there putting on the truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep unto you brothers and sisters that are tuning in. Shalom.